May 2024 Durham Region housing market stats are in, and the number of homes up for sale is continuing to rise. In this video, I'm going to go over the Durham stats for the month of May and talk about how it's affecting both buyers and sellers. And I will also talk about the recent interest rate decrease and how that is specifically impacting first-time home buyers. Hi there and welcome. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Sonia Ramgobin, a realtor with RE/MAX Royal Properties. Now let's get straight into the stats and see what these numbers mean. The number of homes sold in the month of May have decreased slightly compared to last month. So to be specific, 907 homes were sold in the month of May, whereas 948 homes were sold in the month of April. So as you can see, slight decrease, but not by much. So what does this mean? Well, in my opinion, what's happening here is that many buyers were waiting for the interest rate announcement to happen before they make any moves. Now that that interest rate announcement has happened and the rates have come down slightly, it'll be interesting to see if this rate cut brings in more buyers in the market in the months to come. So we'll just have to stay tuned for that. Another thing that I wanted to note is that those buyers that are actually getting into the market despite the interest rates, I feel, in my opinion, they have the upper hand. And let me explain what I mean by this. So right now, there's not a big number of buyers that are on the market. So those that are trying to purchase are not only can take their time through the buying process, but they're not having to compete with a ton of other buyers. So in my opinion, this is beneficial for any buyers trying to purchase at this time. Let's talk about new listings. So as I mentioned, the number of new listings has increased in the month of May compared to last month. There were 2,082 new listings in the month of May compared to 1,840 new listings in April. So what does this tell us? So the amount of new listings entering into the spring market is nothing abnormal. This is totally normal for this time of the year. We tend to see a lot of new listings come onto the market at this time. However, what is happening right now is that all the new listings are starting to pile up month over month because there are not enough buyers that are entering the market. So this is when it becomes an issue. So how is this affecting buyers? So for buyers, as I mentioned, because there's so many homes on the market, it's a great thing. They have a lot to choose from and they can take their time because they're not competing against a ton of other buyers. Another thing that can benefit buyers at this time is that it increases their negotiation power. Now, what I mean by this is that because they're not in competition with a ton of other buyers, they're not having to compete, so they're not having to outbid a ton of other people. If there are sellers at this time that are in dire need to sell, they may very well get a better price than they would have if they were competing with so many other people. For example, if you're applying for a job at a company and there is one position currently available, but there are 10 other people that are applying for that same position, well, your chances of getting that job drastically decrease because you're in a competition with so many other people. However, if you're applying for that same one position and there's only two people that you're competing with, well, you're basically only competing against one other person. So your chances of actually getting that position is greater. So that's kind of what I mean by negotiation power. Now, how is this impacting sellers? So for sellers, your home might be sitting on the market for a longer period of time. It's going to take a little bit longer to sell just because you're in competition with so many other properties that are on the market currently. There have actually been a lot of recommendation that sellers that don't necessarily need to sell at this very moment should perhaps think about holding off on selling until we see some changes in the market. So that's just something that you may want to consider. Let's talk about average sale price. So we've seen a slight increase in the average sale price compared to last month. The average sale price in Durham for the month of May was $954,942, whereas in April it was $943,840. So as you can see, a slight increase of about $11,000. So this is good news for buyers because obviously we don't want to see drastic price increases because then it reduces the ability for buyers to afford. Now, one thing that I wanted to note, now the numbers that I just gave you are the average sale price for all of Durham. So they were taking the sale prices within the different cities within Durham and then just averaging them out. But when I looked into the specific cities individually, I noticed that there were some price drops in certain areas. So there were price drops in Ajax and Whitby, and then there were price increases in Pickering, Oshawa, and Clarington. So I make note of this because I just want you to know that when you're talking to your realtor and you're looking at stats, it's really important to not only look at the overall stats, but look into the stats for the specific cities that maybe you're interested in so that you can get a better idea of what the average price points are. Now, in terms of first-time home buyers, most first-time home buyers are looking for the most affordable option. So within Durham Region, Oshawa and Clarington remain to be the most affordable cities at this time. To give you a better idea of the different types of home and the price points that they are going for, detached homes in Oshawa are starting anywhere from the 900,000s, and condos in Oshawa are starting anywhere in the 500,000s. So that just gives you an idea of the different types of home and price points for any first-time home buyers that are looking to get into the market. So now that we've gone over the Durham Region stats for the month of May, let's talk about the recent interest rate decrease. So interest rates were decreased by 0.25%. This was the first decrease in over 4 years, and it brings us to a rate sitting at 4.75%. So what does this mean for first-time home buyers? Many first-time home buyers were waiting for this announcement before they entered into the market to purchase a property. And now that that rate announcement has happened and we have seen a cut of 0.25%, it'll be interesting to see if this actually opens up the door for buyers to actually get into the market, as I mentioned before. Now, many analysts have said that they don't foresee any drastic change happening in the market because they don't believe it was enough of a decrease to actually enhance buyers to actually get into the market. So only time will tell. We'll just have to wait and see how this first cut affects first-time home buyers. Now, another way first-time home buyers were impacted by this rate decrease is that to begin with, a lot of first-time home buyers were not able to actually qualify for a mortgage with the higher interest rate. So they were anticipating a rate cut so that they can actually afford to qualify for a mortgage to actually get into the market. So a lot of mortgage analysts are saying that it is not enough of a cut to actually make a difference to help those first-time home buyers qualify. But you never know. Every individual situation is different. It's up to you to reach out to your mortgage specialist and see if this rate cut has changed anything for you in terms of your qualifications for a mortgage. So just to piggyback on that, as mortgage analysts have said that it's not enough of a rate decrease to affect those that are trying to qualify for a mortgage, analysts have predicted that there will be another 2 interest rate cuts by the end of this year. So that's something that we will have to wait and see what happens. The next rate announcement is scheduled for July 24th. And just like you, I'll be there waiting to hear what's happening on this day. And I'll provide you with any information that I think would be helpful. Well, I hope this video gave you a better idea of what's happening in the Durham Region market for the month of May. If you do have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I'm always here to help. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video.